What's up class, welcome back. And today we're going to be learning how to create a really cool halftone effect in Photoshop or Photopea. To start off with, you're going to choose one of the options provided in your Check for Understanding folder. You'll see that there are 4. They are all portraits of men and women, so you can choose whichever one you like. Okay, I like the first one, so I'm going to just hide the remainder. First things first is you want to take a minute or two to make a really good selection of your person and just remove their background. The selection tool you choose is up to you, but just make sure the selection is nice and clean. So I'm going to spend some time selecting out this woman. Now you see I went back with the refine edge and I made sure I got all of her hair, her eyelashes, and I cleaned up my selection so it was nice and neat. Once I have a selection, if you use a refine edge, you don't necessarily have to erase the background. It'll automatically give you a new layer. But let's say you don't use the refine edge, just make sure you remove the background either with the mask or just delete the background. Next, we want to make this image black and white. We can do so by going to Image, Adjustments, and hitting Desaturate. Now, if you've run an image off the internet, it's going to be a smart object, so you won't be able to hit desaturate until you rasterize your layer. Just keep that in mind. So now the image has been stripped of color. What we would like to do is have our first check in here so we can see that you've made a good selection and you've indeed removed the color of your selection. Once you've given a check-in, now you're going to go up to Edit, Transform, and you're going to rotate this image 90 degrees clockwise. So she's rotated. Now that we've rotated her, we're going to add our filter. We're going to go up to Filter, Filter Gallery, and we're going to scroll down to where it says Sketch. And then we're going to find the one that says Halftone Pattern. When we click on that, first thing we want to do is change the pattern so that it is line. This may seem counterintuitive, but trust me, there's a technique to this. Then we want to change the size and contrast. Now, depending on the photograph, the person's skin tone, how much of a pattern they have on their clothes, you might want to play with these numbers. I gave you a size of at least as big as 5, contrast about 30. You can do a little bit more, but you just want the lines to be visible. Okay, and you're going to press OK. Now we're going to rotate our picture back so it's right side up. To do this, we're going to go up to Edit, Transform, and this time we're going to hit 90 degrees counterclockwise. And then we want to apply this filter, so now the lines are going to go this way. To do that, all we have to do is go up to Filter and then just hit the word Last Filter. This will have Photoshop or Photopea repeat the last filter that you use, which in this case was a halftone one. Now we'll see that it created these really beautiful dots. Now, last thing we want to do is add some color back to her with a gradient map. A gradient map is an adjustment layer, so it's found in this half circle on the bottom of our layers panel. It basically puts a map of a gradient on your image. So we're going to hit Gradient Map. The natural or the default one is usually black and white. We're going to click on it and change our own colors. The colors you choose, totally up to you. Just make sure they're visible and they make a difference in your portrait. To change the color, you can double click on the little box and tweak the color as you like. Now, because I haven't added this as a clipping mask, it's going into the whole image. I just want it to apply to the photograph. So right now it looks a little wonky, but once I press OK, I'll press OK one more time. I'm going to right click on this adjustment layer and just hit clipping mask. That means it will only affect her. If I feel like the color is too intense, I can lower the opacity a little just to get a tinge of color as opposed to something that's really vibrant. Now that you've done this, you're done with your Check for Understanding. You're going to save this as a JPEG. When you're done with that, you're going to hide this group and then you're going to show the main activity. And the main activity is the same technique, but you're going to research your own portrait for this to create your own halftone design. Here's some recommendations to really elevate your design. Maybe you want to find a portrait of your favorite musical artist and make it look like an album cover. Maybe a political person and make it look like a poster for upcoming elections. Get creative with it, and it's just the same steps repeated one more time. Good luck.